Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about, and this is another installment of Is It For You? And today we're going to be talking about none other than the Common Planner. So I do have like the original Common Planner here. We're going to be looking at about 5 reasons or 5 scenarios, as they say, that I think this planner and this planner system would be ideal for you. And I will give you at least about 3 or 4 scenarios that I don't think that this would be the best option for you. This way it will allow you to not only make an informed decision, but also hopefully by the end, you will either identify with those potential scenarios or you don't. And that's sort of the point of this series, is just I'm sort of like the big sister that I wish I had when I was trying to make a purchasing decision without really, you know, spending the money on the actual item. So I kind of learned the hard way. And so hopefully you will find this informative and helpful. If you do, obviously you know how to support the channel. But without further ado, without rambling on with like a 10-minute intro, why don't we just dive right in? So quick overview of the planner. This is a B6 size. As of right now, as of the time of this recording, there is quite a few sizes that are actually available from Sterling Ink. Sterling Ink is Catherine. Catherine is the original designer of this planner. So she does have quite a few sizes available moving into 2024. This was her first launch into the planner world, and everybody's of course very excited. It's a beautiful planner. And so I will kind of cover not so much the overview. I'm not here to review the actual product. I'm here to just really point out in what scenario would this be ideal for you. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to get out of the way is like the first thing that most of us notice when it comes to the Common Planner is obviously the size. So this is going to be for you if you're looking for a smaller sized planner. And yes, I know this comes with a caveat, but just hear me out. So you're looking for something that is smaller than an A5 size planner and not quite as small as like a personal ring size planner, and you wanted something in a book bound. Well, you have found it. This comes in a B6 size. And obviously, like I said, I understand that since the release of this edition itself, there has been multiple different sizes that came out, particularly catering to the traveler's notebook lovers. So the idea is so that you can kind of use them within your traveler's notebook covers. But nevertheless, if you want something in comparison, if you want something a little bit smaller than, the Hobonichi, which is its big brother, then you have come to the right place. So in size comparison, and I mean, we've seen this multiple times, here you go. It's a little bit shorter and it's a little bit narrower all at the same time. So hopefully the camera kind of picks it up. But if it doesn't, there you go. This will also be for you if you really love Tombow River paper, specifically if you love Tombow River paper that is white. So let's say that one of the beefs that you absolutely had with previous planners and planner systems, I'm speaking particularly about Midori, and I'm specifically referring to obviously the Hobonichi cousin. With the Hobonichi cousin, you will find that the color changes, but this is still a slightly cream colored. It's not particularly cream colored, but it's definitely not nearly as stark white as what you receive here in the Common Planner. And of course, if we're comparing it to Midori, we can already see just from the cover that it is 100% definitely more of a beige, creamy colored page. And this is not Tombow River paper. So that's the other thing to note. And I'm just using this is like my journal, but if you're looking at the Hibino, which is another one of Midori's planner that would be comparable to the Common Planner, that does have that does have the Tombow River paper in it. But if you notice here, like there's like a blue dots, it's like yellow and blue. It's supposed to be like a whole thing with like being calmer on the eyes. But if you're on the market for white Tombow River paper, subtle grids, then you will absolutely love this. I think you will also absolutely love this if we're just kind of reviewing the style itself. You're going to love this, just how simple and elegant the layout is. So here is the monthly layout in October. It's just everything about this, from the font to just the grid itself. It's not in your face nearly as much as the bigger cousins, the bigger brothers of Hobonichi, and I'm using them as reference, obviously, so that you have a comparison point. And even if I'm looking at the weekly, everything just feels very, very subtle, very clean lines, very elegant. It's very much caters to the group of people that are not so much about flooding this and covering everything up with a bunch of stickers. You can if you really want to. I mean, some of my spreads are definitely a little bit more on the heavier side, but for the most part, I tried my best to kind of keep it relatively neutral if I'm looking back. And I mean, like, I love stuff like this where I can just keep it very simple and more focused on the planning itself rather than on covering every single date, every single day, every single, you know, like calendar spread. So if that's your jam, if you wanted really something where you're more focused on the planning itself rather than on the decor, not to say that it couldn't handle the decor, then I think that you would really love this. The other thing that I also wanted to mention is, like, everything about this, even from the very beginning, the beginning pages, it feels like we're really not wasting so much extra space on just an extra print. You know what I mean? Like, everything has its function, everything has its purpose, which is really beautiful. Your goals are broken down into quarters rather than into annual. And so, like, each quarter you can kind of see, obviously I didn't fill them out because I ended up using a totally different system. But I mean, you can kind of see that we're really making full use of the planner for more of its functionality and elegance rather than just wasting paper on really printing things that nobody's really going to be using. Number 4. So this planner is definitely going to be for you if the main thing that you're searching for within a planner system in a one booklet setup is freedom. You really don't like, and I mean, I'm speaking to all of you, and number 4 and number 5 will kind of go hand in hand, but you will love this because it offers a sense of freedom. So what do I really mean by that? It offers a sense of freedom, mainly because the magic kind of comes in the notes section. So once we kind of finish, you know, all of our weeklies leading up all the way to the end of December, your January pages are not really dated daily pages. And also, you kind of want the versatility of figuring out exactly what you use this note section for. Sometimes I use it for swatching colors. Other times I was using it to journal, to actually enter journal entries. And other times I was using them as daily, as like a daily spread. So it is very versatile in that regard. I did stop using this at the very end of, basically I stopped using this towards the end of the summer. But the main thing to note is that it gives you enough flexibility to kind of figure out where you wanted to go with it. So if you really don't like, if you don't like the constraints and the constriction that gets imposed by, you know, having like a dated daily planner, and that's not really how you're planning on using it, then I think you would really love this. I also think that you would really, really love this if you don't need daily pages every single day. And I think that that's the big takeaway here, is that sometimes you don't actually need a daily page every single day. Sometimes you need it for a few days in a week. And then the rest of the time, like, you know, you don't necessarily need that, almost like that pressure of having to fill it out, or it stays blank and then there's like a sense of guilt that is associated with it. So it's sort of like this twofold thing. And last but not least, this will absolutely be for you if one of the main things that you have been struggling with for the past few years when it comes to planner system, more specifically, I'm speaking to you about the Hobonichi Cousin, is like if you had this planner, if you had the Hobonichi Cousin, and then there was like a lot of these pages where you were just like, good Lord, It is so much space. I mean, just the sheer size and let's not forget the amount of time that it took you to fill this out. There were like a lot of blank spaces. There were like a lot of dead or negative space that was left in your spreads because the size was just oversized for what your actual needs are. And then once you were finished here on your weekly, you struggled even more on these daily pages. When you kind of looked at it, it felt not only intimidating, but it also felt really disappointing on days when you couldn't fill this out. So between the monthly, the weekly, and the daily spreads, it just felt like quite a lot. And if you've struggled with this, and if you had ever said, I love the Hobonichi cousin, but fill in the blank, then I think that the nice alternative for you would be a slightly smaller sister, the Common Planner. And I'm not trying to sell you on the Common Planner, but I definitely do see, I have definitely seen within the planning community a sense of sigh of release when it comes to when this planner came out, and for good reason, because ultimately these have definitely spoken to a specific group of people that have not only struggled with other planner systems that are quite similar to what this is, but then also they were kind of looking for an alternative solution that would kind of fit their needs a little bit more. So it's kind of like that twofold thing. Now, let's actually talk about and go into the dark side together. It's okay, I'm going to hold your hand along the way, so it will be fine. But let's just discuss who is it not for? Who are those among us, like myself, that really find ourselves not really resonating anymore with this system, and it's not the most suitable. And that does not negate any of the things that I just mentioned earlier. I still stand by the fact that I think that this is a great planner. Personally, I don't think that you will love this if you're brand new to planning. And the reason for that is because for the most part, it does take a little bit of time to interact with any product, really, for you to figure out your own planning style and your own planning system. This may also be way too big for you if you're not really sure what to keep track of in your daily and in your weekly planning sessions. May I suggest the Hobonichi weeks, where you might just look at a weekly layout and kind of call it a day. And you might just be like, you know what, that's basically all I need. And it's not to say that I'm trying to sway you, but you might definitely find that if you're brand new to planning, even this in and of itself might be too big, might be too much. You might find that not really being certain of what we're keeping track of on a weekly basis, or trying to mitigate other people's planning style when we really haven't developed our own, might be kind of intimidating. You might, instead of spending 20 minutes on filling everything out and pre-planning for your week, you might actually spend about an hour or two, and you're still not able to match the planning style to other people. You might also find that the note section in the back, this whole thing back here, might just kind of leave you with a sense of confusion as to what we're really like. Is this like scrap paper? Is this like a daily spread? Is it like what do we do here? Are we journaling here? Like, are we all of a sudden journaling? So you might have found yourself kind of asking those questions, and it might leave you more overwhelmed than actually empowered. And I personally don't think that any product should really leave you overwhelmed, especially when the main, I guess, like the main takeaway or like the main intention of any product, like a planner, would be to actually help you remain more productive and just kind of doing like a little brain dump so that you can kind of keep track of certain things in your life. I personally don't think that this will be for you if you need a structured layout, which kind of speaks hand in hand to my first point of if you're new to planning. So if you need a structured layout, like to me, I'm going to use myself as an example. I really love that we have a weekly layout. I really love that we have, a monthly layout that I can just kind of go back to and be like, hey, here's my month. I can kind of look at like what's happening for the month of November. And I also love the fact that like I'm comparing this to the Hobonichi cousin, even though I'm not actually using this as a planner system, but I just wanted you to see my point. I also love that we have our days dated. To me, that it's sort of like a safety net, but it's also it's sort of like that clear safety boundary where I know that this is the space that I get where I can write about that specific day. So if I ever wanted to go back and kind of check on that specific day of how my life was and what I did, what I was planning, what I was dreaming about, what was frustrating me, I can literally just go back to that specific day and check on that. It's not to say I couldn't do that in the Common Planner, but it would be a little bit more challenging for me to kind of sort through the different pages, especially when I'm keeping track of multiple things in the notes section. So I actually do prefer that. And in a way, if I'm really being honest, I kind of hope that she brings structured, like printed daily pages within her future Common Planner releases. Even though I know that the name kind of, like, I get it, like I get the condescension here, but I still wish that she would have literally made like a smaller, cuter, more elegant version of the Hobonichi cousin, because I actually do really enjoy the fact that like the days are dated. And I know a lot of you don't, and that's totally cool. I also don't think that you will love this if you hate bullet journaling. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I had many notebooks that I was using as a planner, and I honestly, eventually I just kind of gave up on it because I really hated planning out my dailies where I'm kind of doing the layout. And it's not to say I couldn't. Like, I've done it for multiple months, for up to like, I think until September, I was very religiously in it. And it's not to say I couldn't do it, but it's just, it didn't make me happy. That's not really what I was looking for. I wanted a planner system that just already had that ready to go, waiting for me, so I can just jump right in and write about my day and actually focus on the planning itself, rather than feeling like the only thing I can really return to is bullet journaling. So if you hate bullet journaling, don't get this planner, because your daily pages will very much mimic that same system. And last but not least, and I think many of us kind of fall into this, and not to say that this will 100% not be suitable for you, but to me, it definitely wasn't working when you have way too many planners. So when you find that you have multiple planners for the different purposes, and eventually there is that overlay, there is that crossover that happens between what you write about in the Common Planner versus what you write about in your Hobonichi cousin versus what you write about in your Hobonichi weeks versus what you write about in your ring-bound planner. Once there's like this flow over and overlay, and you find yourself sort of questioning, do I need to duplicate this? Do I need to write about this yet again? Then it will be sort of like a question of, well, okay, then maybe we are duplicating information because then there isn't a clear purpose for this planner. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to try things out. It's okay to test our own, preferences and what we like and what we don't like. Personally, I found that eventually I was really duplicating the information that I was writing in here versus what I was writing in my VDS planner versus what I was writing in my Hobonichi cousin. Once there's a sense of duplication that's happening, where really there isn't a clear purpose for this planner anymore, and I have a better system that is available, then I'm kind of asking myself, okay, why am I putting the time and the energy in here when really it's just sort of like, I already know it's not for me, and that's okay. Like, so going into next year, I am not 100% sure that I will buy this. It's not because I didn't like it, but because I like other systems that are better suited for my needs a little bit more. And so I ask you to just challenge yourself before you purchase a new system because it's hyped up. If this is truly for you, and are you buying it because it's hyped up, or are you buying it because it's actually filling up your needs? One way, shape, or form. But I definitely do think that any planner system that we put in place should have 100% should have a purpose. And the moment that it doesn't fulfill that purpose or something else that works a little bit better, then this planner system is no longer working. So I always kind of say it with a sense of caveat, because I know that many of us within the planning community have multiple planners, and that's totally cool. But the moment it's no longer fulfilling those needs, you have to kind of make something and change something. This is all I have for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you really like this video. I hope you like this series. Please let me know in the comments below. Number one, what is your favorite thing about the Common Planner, if you have it? And what is something that you would absolutely love to change about it? This is all I got for you. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. You can support the channel multiple ways. joining my community if that works for you. You can also subscribe, like the video, all of the good things. And I cannot wait to see you guys in my next one. Bye.